welcome to my channel. I am teacher Kayla and I'm so glad that you're here to join me today. So this month in America, the month of March, is a very special time for women. This is Women's History Month. And in honor of this special month, I have put together something special for you guys. I've put together 8 of the most inspirational women, in my opinion, in history. So these are 8 of my favorite women, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about them today. And really to kind of tell you a little bit about a different way of learning. So this is another way that I go about teaching is, I think it's fun sometimes to mix it up. And actually I like to do this a lot with my students, is to teach in unconventional ways. So something that deviates from the norm, or something that's different from the normal, right? Something that's not the usual thing that you do all the time. I like to mix it up and keep it fresh, and I think that's more interesting, it's more fun, and it really helps you learn things that you might not learn otherwise. So today we're focusing on your listening skills, and we're also focusing on comprehension and learning new vocabulary. So what I want you to do for today's lesson is to, first off, because I know I can speak a little fast sometimes, especially when I get excited about a subject. So let me tell you the first thing. First, there is a cogwheel. It's like the settings at the bottom of the screen. And if you click that, you can see something that shows you, it says normal, like it has the playback speed or something is about the speed. So if you click on that and you click, you can click to change the speed that you actually hear me in. So you can change it. If it says 1 right now or normal, you can take it down to 0.75, 0.5, I think even 0.25. And you can really slow me down if you need it to go a little bit slower. Again, I know I can speak quite fast, so it might be easier for you to understand that way. I know you can't just say, Kayla, slow down, right? So, so take me up on that. I don't mind if you make me talk very slow. It's okay. All right, I do not take offense, or make me faster, whatever is easiest for you, okay? The second thing I want to say is during this video, you might hear some words that you haven't heard before. Now, you can take note on that and write those words down, look them up afterwards if I don't explain them well, or if I do make an explanation like I just did a minute ago about something that deviates from the norm, or something that is unconventional, that is something that's not normal. Both of those things describe something not normal, so you could take a note and write that down and add those words to your vocabulary. If there is a spot in my video where maybe you don't understand something or you want me to explain it more, I don't mind. Please leave a comment below and tell me about it, and tell me where it is, what time marker it is, and I will message you and let you know what I said and explain it more to you. I'm here to help you learn. That's what this is about, right? So for today, otherwise, grab a drink. This is quite a long video, but it'll be really informational, and you're gonna learn a lot of cool things. And like I said, you might learn some new words along the way. So instead of just sitting here memorizing words, let's have some fun and let's talk about some wonderful women in history, okay? Let's do it. All right, let's get started. All right, let's start in with number 8. And number 8 on my list, I had to do it. I had to include this wonderful woman. It is Mother Teresa. And you have probably heard of Mother Teresa. She is a very, very popular name. And in America, we actually have a saying with Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa is known for being very giving, very kind, just such a wonderful human being, right? Just doing such amazing things. So, because of all of her accomplishments and because of how amazing and well known that she is, we actually have a saying, and sometimes it's used sarcastically, and sometimes it's used genuinely. So, I will give you examples of what I mean. First, some people say this sarcastically if they are, they want to be kind of rude. They don't really mean it. They'll be like, well, aren't you a Mother Teresa? Right? Well, aren't you Mother Teresa? Yeah. Or Mother Teresa. Yeah. Well, aren't you a Mother Teresa? Or, well, aren't you Mother Teresa? Like that. Something like that. Or, well, thanks for sharing, Mother Teresa. Something like that. But if they are being more genuine, then they're going to say, wow, you're just like Mother Teresa. Wow. Yeah. So, anyway, who is Mother Teresa? If you don't know, Mother Teresa founded the Missionaries of Charity, which was a group of women who took vows of chastity, poverty, obedience, and free service to the poorest of the poor, right? The work that these people did expanded to 130 countries, and it included managing homes for people who were dying, soup kitchens, orphanages, and schools. Yeah. So she really did a lot of things, and that's not just a saying. She really did have a huge impact that spread across the world. Yeah. All right. So number 7 on my list is Erin Brockovich. This is another one that you might have heard of because Hollywood did make a movie about Erin Brockovich. Erin Brockovich she is still alive. She was born around the 60s, and she is still alive today. And during this time, she was a single mom of 3 children, and she wasn't really highly regarded. They saw her as uneducated and, poor and just not really having things together. But the cool thing about this story is that Erin saw something that was wrong in her town, and that was that Pacific Gas and Electric was contaminating the drinking water. And this was in Hinckley, California, a small town in California. And she didn't just sit back and say, well, nothing I can do about it. Not just one person. One person can't make a difference, right? She did not do that. She ended up taking a job at a local law firm, and I think she was just like an assistant or something like that. But she pushed and kept pushing and pushing just by taking this job, and she was able to play a major role in taking down PG&E, right? And this case settled for over $333 million, which is the largest settlement ever paid in a direct action lawsuit in history, which is pretty amazing. And after this, she went on to participate in other anti-pollution lawsuits where she applied what she learned from the PG&E case and won several other case settlements as well. So she actually, she really took to, kind of taking a stand for people against these big companies who were destroying our world, destroying our planet. And so I have a lot of respect for her for that. Okay, so let's move on to number 6. And number 6 is my girl Nellie Bly. And Nellie Bly was alive in the late 1800s, in 1864 to 1922. And this, of course, was a time when women were very domesticated, and women journalists wrote mostly about, you know, the home, fashion, gardening, diets, like, very much things like that, things of the home, keeping women there. And Nellie Bly, she really took a stand against this. She just said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to just write about, these boring topics that all these other women do. I don't want to do that. I want to write about the hard-hitting stories. I want to talk about the poor and the oppressed. So she did. And in around 1886 to 1887, she traveled for several months into Mexico, and she reported on official corruption and the conditions of the poor. And while she was there, actually, she pretended to be insane and got put into an insane asylum so she could take it down from the inside. So she wrote about all of the poor conditions there, and she really she reported about it all. And I think that is so amazing. So Bly's journalistic fame, because of course she was famous because she was amazing and she was a woman in this time, it led her to travel the globe. She really took an interest to Jules Verne, 80 Days Around the World. And she decided that she wanted to take this trip, and she did. So she traveled the globe unchaperoned, and she completed this in less than 80 days. She hit her goal, and she actually completed this in 72 days, 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds, which set a new world record. And I think that is so amazing because she did this during a time when there wasn't, airplanes weren't taking people around the world and things like that. This was a time when she was using things like steamships and hot air balloons. So I think that's pretty amazing. And I think that was so cool. I would love to do that. I think that's a lot of fun. So maybe that's bucket list goals there. So let's move on to number 5, and that is Marie Curie. And Marie Curie was alive in 1867 to 1934. And Marie Curie changed the world in a couple of ways. She was really involved a lot in science, and she founded the new science of radioactivity. Yeah, even the word was invented by her. And her discoveries launched effective cures for cancer. So she made a huge impact. And because of the impact that she made on the world, she was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, the first female professor at the University of Paris to win that prize, and the first person, I said person, to win not one, but 2 Nobel Prizes. The first one was in chemistry, and she humbly shared that prize with her husband. And the second was in radioactivity. So, pretty huge accomplishment for Miss Marie Curie. All right, moving on to number 4, Marie Stopes. So, another amazing Marie in our history, and she was alive in the late 1800s to the mid 1900s, 1880 to 1958. And Marie Stopes was pretty interesting because she was an advocate of birth control and sex educator. And at this time in our history, that was such a huge deal. She wrote a couple of books in the early 1900s. Around 1918, she published Married Love, and she had also published Wise Parenthood around the same time. She was an incredibly controversial figure, as you can guess, especially for her views on eugenics. And if you're not aware of what eugenics is basically a way for us to play with genes and remove the ones that we don't want. So Stopes was key in publicizing her cause, which her cause was, to help provide the birth control and sex education to as many people as she could, especially women, and helping women with the opportunity of planned pregnancies. And she actually opened up a birth control clinic. I think it was one of the first birth control clinics in London. And even today, there are some clinics that are named after Marie Stopes. So she really made a huge impact in empowering women to have a choice and and really be educated in what they do with their bodies and having children and things like that. Okay, so moving on to number 3, and my number 3 inspirational woman is Miss Melinda Gates, and she was born in 1964, and she is still alive today. And she is the better half of the infamous couple that created Microsoft, or she is Bill Gates' wife. I'm sure you have heard of Microsoft at least. So Melinda is the first woman to donate over $40 billion to various causes. She is an active philanthropist even today. And she has had a hand in contributing to jobs to more than 100 countries that were experiencing challenges in education, poverty, hunger, and health. Right? She provided vaccines that aided in preventing more than 11 million deaths. And she has also had her hand in aiding women in developing worlds with family planning and contraceptive supplies. She is currently focusing on the world's biggest problem right now, COVID-19, right? And she has already donated over $1.75 billion to the cause, which is incredible. And the cool thing about Melinda is that she doesn't just talk the talk, so to speak. She walks the walk, right? So she doesn't just throw money at the problem. She does actually get her hands dirty, and she does go to these places and try to do the most that she can. She tries to get other people involved, and she really doesn't mind getting her hands dirty. Okay, so moving on to number 2, and number 2 is Miss Frida Kahlo. And Frida Kahlo was a Mexican artist in the early 1900s, 1907 to 1954. And you might have heard a little bit about her because there was a movie about Frida not that long ago that came out. And Frida she was very striking with her appearance, and she was, her art was known for, exploring gender and class and identity, right? And she wasn't conventionally beautiful, meaning she wasn't maybe someone that everyone thinks is beautiful, but she was very confident in herself, and almost all of her works, she was a painter, and almost all of her works included herself. So she painted herself, and Miss Kahlo had a unibrow and a mustache, and she didn't hide that. She didn't, Photoshop or paint it out. She accented it. She accented her flaws and showed them to the world as art. She made several different paintings, lots of paintings of herself, as she is, as a way to take a stand and say, oh, I'm beautiful. I don't care what you think. I am beautiful, right? So I think that is super cool that she was able to, you know, really take a stand against, you know, the conventional beauty and really put herself out there raw and just honest, right? So I think that's pretty cool. Kahlo was also an important figure in many social causes like feminism and LGBTQ rights. So she really stood up for a lot of people and just being yourself, right? The cool part about Frida also that I'll mention is Frida's art wasn't really that popular while she was alive. She really tried to was always striving for trying to reach that popularity, and she really didn't get that much attention, but now she gets much more attention after she died, which is kind of cool. And I think in this day and age it's even cooler because, you know, I feel like so many of us are so empowered now to really have confidence in ourselves. So yeah, I think now is the time to really embrace that type of work. So this brings me to my number one most inspirational woman in my opinion, and this is a woman that I couldn't leave out. She's made big waves in history this year in particular, last year and this year, and I'm just really excited to see what she does. She was previously a district attorney advocating against child abuse and neglect, and she is now, dun, 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 the Vice President of the United States. And if you haven't guessed it already, that is Miss Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. And she was also born in 1964 like Melinda Gates, and she is still alive now. And she checks off 2 boxes. She is the first woman vice president and the first African American vice president. So that's a huge step for us women. I think, you know, I really want to see a woman president in my lifetime. I hope I get to see that. I think we are well on our way, and I'm so excited to see what Miss Harris does with her time in office. I'm really hoping to see her make some changes and make some waves while she's there. So that's really cool. All right, so that is all that I have. That is my 8 inspirational women. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun with me. If you did and you want to know more about what I offer and maybe check out some more videos in the future, please subscribe below. Comment your favorite woman in history down below on the video. I would love to hear about it. Whether you subscribe or not, tell me about your favorite woman in history. And ding the bell. If you ding the bell, you get notifications about upcoming videos, and you kind of stay in the loop about what's going on with me. All right, take care, and until next time, goodbye.